The Legend of Zelda, a series we've all come to love. In just 2 months, this beloved franchise will be 30 years of age. And with the new Zelda on the horizon looking to be the largest revolution in the series next to Ocarina of Time, Cole and I are here to discuss why The Legend of Zelda for Wii U will take place in the child timeline. Let's go back to the 2014 Game Awards. Looking at the trailer released, we can see what looks to be the Great Bridge of Hylia still intact. This bridge in Twilight Princess looks weathered and beaten up, but in the footage shown at the Game Awards, the bridge seems to be fully intact. The locations on the map match up very well to the original Legend of Zelda map, Twilight Princess, and Ocarina of Times.
While I agree that is most definitely identical to the Bridge of Hylia, maps in a Zelda game are about as consistent as my dating life. Look at the insane map transition from Twilight Princess to Four Swords Adventures.
When looking at the patterns of remakes since Skyward Sword's release, it seems Nintendo is gearing up for something big storyline-wise. In the years since Skyward Sword was released, we've seen Ocarina of Time 3D, Wind Waker HD, Majora's Mask 3D, and now Twilight Princess HD. While not a remake, A Link Between Worlds ties into this as well, as it has a strong connection to A Link to the Past, and the two games are very similar. Wind Waker HD and A Link Between Worlds can be seen as refreshers for the Downfall timeline and the Adult timeline. Ocarina of Time is the pivot point for all of these games as it leads into all three sides of the timeline. So far, they've remade 2 games in the child timeline, showing that this timeline seems to be Nintendo's main focus, and why wouldn't it be? This timeline has the top 3 selling titles of the whole series, Ocarina of Time coming in at roughly 11 million copies, Twilight Princess at 8 million, and Majora's Mask coming in at 5 million across all platforms. I know if I was running Nintendo, I'd be taking advantage of those numbers. The Hero of Time and the Hero of Twilight are the most iconic versions of Link in the whole series. In the end, it would be smart for Nintendo to work with that as much as they could. Similar to Twilight Princess and Ocarina of Time.
Okay, story time, my favorite part. As I noted in my last video, this has to take place in the era of Chaos for many reasons. If this were a prequel to Twilight Princess and a sequel to Majora's Mask, it would mean Link is blood related to both of them and also likely grew up in a village known for its agricultural roots if it's a Majora's Mask sequel. But this Link is clearly of a more royal descent, with a nice refined blue tunic and a Master Sword slapped right on it, hinting his village people are possibly directly correlated with those who descended from the sky after being saved by him who wielded the Master Sword. And with this new uncharted land of evil, all hope is lost, leaving nothing but a legend to hang on to. Some might say this could mean it's before the Wind Waker was flooded, but this can be debunked very easily simply because, there was no hero whenever Wind Waker occurred. being the reason Hyrule was flooded. I will agree that Twilight Princess and Skyward Sword are heavily tied together in story, in fact, the closest related in the series, implying Zelda becoming more lore and story-centric while keeping its gameplay great. With characters directly saying Hyruleans descended from the city in the sky, and demise being confirmed during Xant's death scene, it all shows a deep connection. To me, Zelda Wii U will fill this gap for me story-wise.
The Happy Mask Salesman has been said to be making a return in an upcoming Zelda title, maybe even Zelda Wii U. Now, there's a strong possibility that this has to do with the child timeline, as he's made a strong connection to this area in the Zelda franchise.
This is definitely a confusing part, but I have said in a prior video that I believe the Happy Mask Salesman is Sant, and he has vast knowledge of this hexing tribe he mentions throughout Majora's Mask. Speaking of, he managed to steal a mask containing vast evil created by his former tribe, which was sealed away to the Twilight Realm from a goddess? That sounds kinda crazy, how is that? This can easily be set in the era of chaos where everyone has lost hope, anything evil wanted a god. And hundreds or thousands of years later, he returns to the Sacred Realm to secure the Twilight Invasion. If this were the child timeline, why would the Happy Mask Salesman need to be there? If Majora's Mask was already in the Twilight Realm, it makes no sense.
The new amiibo coming for Twilight Princess HD can transfer save file information to Zelda U. What the save file does has yet to be revealed. The fact that this amiibo is seemingly the only one that can do this, it's highly possible Zelda U has a strong connection to Twilight Princess itself.
The only option I can think of it is unlocking a special item, which is what I assume all the amiibos will do, or giving you a few rupees like it does in Hyrule Warriors. But in all honesty, I don't see the amiibo having a huge story connection unless it involves... No, I don't really see it having a huge story connection at all. But on to my next point. Timing. Twilight Princess only takes place over 100 years after Ocarina of Time according to Miyamoto himself, meaning that's about a 50-year gap between Majora's Mask, Zelda Wii U, and Twilight Princess per game if this were the case, leaving almost no time for Arbiter's Ground to be built as it's still a black hole in Zelda Wii U.
Of course, my largest issue is the sailcloth, especially since its name remains the same, that we know of. But as I stated in a collaboration with Game Over Jesse, what is believed to be the Book of Medora appears multiple times throughout the series. Also, the claw shot can be found in Skyward Sword alongside Twilight Princess. This is just one of the identical items that can be found throughout the franchise.
This is definitely true, but the sailcloth was specifically handmade by Zelda, and with the shape of it in Zelda Wii U, it could imply that it's been kept in perfect condition for hundreds or thousands of years if it is in the child timeline, which is kinda ridiculous. Now, I know this kind of sounds odd because the claw shot found in the City in the Sky, or Skyloft, is in great shape, but you have to understand this is made of metal and can probably face the test of time a lot better. I also think the claw shot will be making a return in this game here as a connection to both Twilight Princess and Skyward Sword. My final point, again going back to the story, the time shift stones seem to be a huge part of this game. From slowing down time with possibly the Magic Sheikah book, or again the Book of Medora, to the giant Octorok containing its technology, and even going as far as to shooting time shift arrows. Skyward Sword introduced these time shift stones in an in-depth way. While Ocarina of Time was made of stones, they never had a huge role in any Story of the Child timeline.
My final point, bomb arrows. This nifty item was introduced in Twilight Princess and hasn't been seen since. We can see them being used in the E3 2014 trailer, and yes, they are different from the supposed time shift arrows, but this could just be a coincidence. So to conclude, the biggest factors for me are the map correlations, the Happy Mask Salesman, and definitely the amiibo connection. With not a lot of information known about Zelda Wii U so far, it's impossible to say what's coming next. But all we can do is sit back, enjoy the ride, and see what happens. Thank you, Cole, for letting me join in on this debate here. I had an awesome time working with you, buddy. You guys all remember to like, comment, and subscribe to Cole's channel. We'll see you guys on my newest Zelda theory. Peace out.